Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. As always, it's your host, Stuart Cranes. This is another episode of Your Inside Track to Success. We have an awesome guest for you this week, so I just want to dive right into the conversation. He is somebody that not only talks the talk, but actually walks the talk as well. He is a inventor from a small town called Salina in Ohio, and he was on Shark Tank, was able to secure a deal from not one, but three of the sharks for his invention, Grypmat, which is a really amazing invention. He is a self-proclaimed inventor, but they are a fixture, the Grypmat, of my dad's garage back in California. So wanted to have him on the show so he can dispense some wisdom. Excited to have Tom Burden on the show. Tom, thank you for being here today.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me. Yeah, just some context for the listeners is that I met Stu just before the pandemic. So it's been about 4 years and it's been a pretty wild ride since then. So yeah, I'm excited to catch up.
Yeah, dude, your hair was a lot shorter back then.
Yeah. Just for context, I like with the whole grip mat thing, I made it when I was in the military. So now I look much different, which is hilarious because my passport is from 2016. So like I've been so for the past little over 2 years, I've just been like traveling around the world. And when I was in Indonesia, they looked at my passport and they're like, no.
did you have any actual issues getting in anywhere with the difference in appearance?
That was the only time, but like most of the time, I think like the security or like customs just kind of looks at me like, I don't want to deal with this. You're good.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Well, I acknowledge you for also, letting your hair out literally, so to speak. So I
Yeah.
wanted to ask, you've been on this, journey around the globe for a couple years now. That's a dream of a lot of people, just to be able to put everything down and travel the world. What was the genesis of this trip for you, and what are some of the lessons that you've learned along the way?
Yeah. I mean, just for context, I love it when people say like the dream because the way I think is like just keep in mind all nightmares are dreams. So
Ooh, yeah,
yeah. So people are like, oh, I live in the dream. Yeah, it might be a good dream. It might be even a nightmare. I mean, so really like the perspective of the dreamer's perspective of your life is like your perspective that you control. So, and actually, something that I was meditating on a while ago is this may sound crazy, but just kind of like follow me on this. Is
hmm
I was thinking of like, what if we're all in heaven, but we just can't see it?
Ooh, tell me more.
So let's say, I guess, Stu, we haven't talked in a while. So are you married? You have kids? Are you
Yep.
single? Or like, what do you got?
Yep. So happily married. We
Okay.
have a son, my stepson, her biological son, but happily married here in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, just like with that perspective of just like the thing is you guys mostly are not at any like risk. You're not starving. You're not like if you
Mhm.
need something you can literally just go to work, or if you don't have a job then you can go find a job, and then like anything that you need is actually at your fingertips.
Correct.
Where really like for me, I mean, the thing is you say like I was like talking the talk and also walking the walk. The thing was like a lot of things that I built was out of my insecurities. So like
Interesting.
people think a lot. Man, I wish I could be if I had $1 million, I would do this. The thing is, when I hit $1 million, I actually gained more insecurities because people think about if they had $1 million, but they don't think about if they lost $1 million. Have you ever had a
Yeah.
panic attack about losing $1 million?
Not about $1 million, but about being flat broke. I can tell you that.
Yeah. So the thing is, the more money that you get, that doesn't go away. It actually gets worse
Really?
because if you're like, how much money were you panicking about losing?
Couple thousand at the time.
Add a few zeros to that. Do you think it'd be easier?
No,
No.
not at all.
Yeah, it's not. So the thing is, because I didn't have the perspective that everything is okay, like I am in heaven now. Like the thing is, I was thinking, well, if I got $1 million, then therefore I'd be like a little bit closer to heaven, or I'd be a little bit closer to this like utopia or like an easy life.
Mhm.
Where really the thing is, that is like more of doing. Like I have to go get something, I have to do something, which is the doing is like to make money or like make $1 million. And then we're really, that's skipping over the being. The being is like, I am valuable, not I have to do something that creates value. I'm already valuable, period.
I love that.
A visual is like, I was thinking like let's say money is like an apple.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, shit, I need an apple. But the thing is, I'm not the person eating the apples, I'm the apple tree.
So you're saying that you are worthy as you are and capable of creating whatever it is you want. Is that
Right. So the
correct?
thing is, right, like so like Grypmat is an apple. It can come and
Got
go.
it.
If
Mhm.
if an apple falls on the ground and starts rotting, before I'd be panicking. Well, now I'm losing $1 million, like my money's going down. That's the apple that's rotting. But the thing is, I'm the apple tree.
Yeah, because you are limitless. You have the ability to create
Oh,
whatever it is. So
right.
I'm sure. Full disclosure, I rewatched your episode of Shark Tank in preparation for this conversation, and
Yeah.
you walked out of there with a deal with three sharks, and I'm sure it felt really important to you at the time. But just to follow your logic here, you would probably have just found another opportunity if you still needed the funding where you are now. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, the thing was, okay, so I'm not going to answer your question directly, but just kind of like a perspective of where I was at the time is, like the thing was, a lot of people, every once in a while on like YouTube or something, a video will start circulating that it was the best pitch ever because I'm just like, I want you, I want you, I want you. And they're like, okay, let's go. And then, so the thing was, I was in like such desperate need of being seen by others
Mhm.
that I had to make those things happen. The thing is that the concept of there's so many people who don't need to be seen by others that they can just work a 9 to 5 job and be happy.
Yeah.
I had to get on Shark Tank to feel the same as that person. So people look at me like, oh, well, you're on Shark Tank, like, yeah, like I have this big advantage. I'm actually at a huge disadvantage because I needed to get on Forbes 30 under 30 to get to feel normal.
Yeah. Wow. So this is something that we actually talk about a fair amount on the show. So I'd love your perspective. Is the majority of what we're up to, is the majority of our goals just trying to fill some type of hole deep inside ourselves, some need?
Right. So, okay. Do you know who, what's his name? David Goggins is?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So anyone who doesn't know David Goggins, Goggins is like, he was like a Navy SEAL. He was like overweight. And he's like, I'm tired of being a piece of shit. I'm just going to like become this.
If you guys don't know who he is, you will find millions of articles and
Yeah.
videos on him. He's not hard to find.
Yeah. Yeah. So the thing is like, what I see, like the thing is, David Goggins has the ability to create very impressive things. He
Mhm.
has the ability to like push through, but the thing is, he's doing it out of shame. And
Yeah.
and basically, I was doing the same thing. I was really doing it out of a scarcity. So the thing is, he's building an empire, and also like more and more dangerously building an identity that he is the shame. Like I can shame myself into anything. So the thing is, what we've never seen David Goggins, we've never seen him build something out of freedom. So the thing is, people will say, well, the shame gives me an edge. It helps me. It's very motivating. It can be motivating, but you can also build things without the shame. It's like saying, well, we need slavery because we built the pyramids with slavery. We built cities with slavery. Yeah, we can also build cities out of freedom. We don't need
Yeah.
slavery. We don't need to shame ourselves. So that like, yeah, the thing is, there's two different paths might get to a similar result, But the thing is, like the concept of the shame is really just feeding the insecurities. Because with me with Grypmat, I was starting to get into like more like business circles that were like similar levels. And what I realized was like typically the most successful person in the room was just the most committed to their insecurities. And
Really?
what's also fucked up is a lot of times I was the most successful in the room, which means I'm the most committed to my insecurities.
So I want to just kind of like drill into this a little bit though, because David Goggins, again, listeners, if you haven't figured out who that is, Google him, you'll find a million things. He is one of the biggest like motivational speakers in the world. I know both of his books have been bestsellers. Why is that shame? Why is coming from shame not only our default, but in light of somebody like this that we put up on a pedestal, why is that so attractive for so many of us?
Well, I think the concept of like shaming yourself for motivation, the thing is that is actually a huge evolving point. So the thing is, let's just think of David Goggins. David Goggins had zero motivation, and then he
Mm-hmm.
got motivation through shaming himself. That is a form of evolving. So basically, he went from like the rotary phone to the flip phone.
Sure.
And then the thing is, he's stuck in the flip phone. He can't get to an iPhone. The iPhone would be you just make something out of freedom. So an example of making something out of freedom is if you know who Billie Eilish is.
Yes,
Yeah, so she's
absolutely.
just like famous for music. The thing is, when she was a kid, her parents said at bedtime you can either go to sleep or you can keep making music. If you're making music, you don't have to go to bed. So to a kid, they're just playing. So their kids will literally play until they fall asleep, and that's what they were doing. Now the thing is, I don't know if right now for Billie Eilish, if it's still expanding her to keep making music in the same way. I know she was having some troubles with like being famous or a lot of attention or whatever. But
Yeah, yeah.
the thing is also there's not like really a wrong or right. Like there's nothing wrong with the rotary phone when we came out with the rotary phone. But if you're like installing rotary phones in your house right now, then it's just not like you're like, what do
Probably a
you?
little behind.
Yeah, you're like this was right like 50, 60 years ago, but right now it's just like, what are you doing? So I think also there's like this, what you can see behind that is like the desire to be right, which really, if there's a desire to do something right, like you're really seeking out wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, like, there is no wrong or right. It just, that was the stage of the development at that time.
And it's about not making yourself wrong for where you're at in the moment, but aspiring to coming from a place of freedom.
Yeah. I mean, really, you know, I have a lot of people come to me and ask like for like business advice or like what should they do different. And usually I can see right away, like if they would just switch X for Y, they would do really well. But then I'm starting to see underneath that, like, why do you even want to do this business? Because those, a lot of times I get people who say the normal thing like, well, I want more time and money. The thing is I've never been more broke and have like no time at all for like the first like 7 years of the business. So like
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't more time and money. And the thing is, for me, it wasn't about time or money. It was about other people seeing me. It was about me striving to try to feel safe when I was already safe. It was me trying to prove to my dad I was a hard worker. It was,
Mm.
trying to, so it wasn't really about the time or the money. It was about me, feeding into these insecurities. And also like what I realized is I would do like, I would see where I want other people to see me. And that means I'm not seeing myself.
Yeah.
So an example is, so day one of the pandemic, I bought a one-way ticket to Hawaii, and I spent the whole pandemic in Hawaii. I thought it'd be like 2 or 3 weeks. I was there like over a year and a half. And years later, I was in Japan with a friend who I lived with in Hawaii, and I have not seen um, him since then. This was like a few years since we've seen each other, and so since then, so what I do every day is I meditate a lot, at least an hour, usually 2 hours a day, and I would do these. My friend got me into Vipassana, which is like a 10-day meditation retreat where there's no phone, no internet, no reading, no writing, no talking for 10 days. So you're literally meditating like 11 hours a day. And so the thing is, my friend, I wanted so badly for him to see how much I've grown since Hawaii, since like 2020. And I'm the thing is, he's half Japanese, so he knows Tokyo much better than I do. And he would say, the thing is, we're not even having a conversation where he'd be like, "Hey, so there's like a matcha tea shop over here. Do you want to go?" And I'm saying things like, "I did this 10-day meditation, and now I'm like so mindful, and I'm able to see so much." And he's like, do you like matcha or not?" But I'm like wanting him to say, "Wow, you've grown so much." And I could see, like, I was like wanting so badly this external validation. And I I remember when it hit me, I was like, I'm gonna tell him that this is why I've been operating this way, is like I'm wanting him to like acknowledge me. And I was like, yo, don't say it. Don't say it. But I realized what I've been wanting you to say is like, or wanted you to see is like how much I wanted you to see how much I've grown. He's like, "Yeah, you've been growing a lot." I was like, "I don't say it. I know, like, I don't want you to say it now." Because the thing is, once I was able to see that, I was able for me to acknowledge it myself. And that is way more valuable than having other people validate you.
I'm so glad we're talking about this because this is something that's been a big part of my journey as well. Like my journey, I went away to college. I'm from right outside of Oakland, California, went to University of Oregon, started working in baseball. So moved all over the country working for all these different baseball teams. Eventually, I overstayed my welcome in the baseball industry. My body just kind of crapped out on the 100 hours a week that industry basically entails. And I remember in my bones knowing that this wasn't the right field for me, but not wanting to let somebody down. And it was typically somebody from home, whether it be my parents, whether it be all the people that said I was going to go on to do great things with my life, leaving high school, whether it be impressing my high school buddies who, newsflash, could give a shit about what I was doing with
Yeah,
my
yeah.
life. And it actually took me bottoming out in terms of health, in terms of finances, to really begin this work of like getting to know myself and who I was and what I actually wanted. And so I wanted to ask you, Tom, like, how did this journey actually begin for you, where you're actually learning who Tom is and what you want and stop looking for that external validation?
What I realized is that, so what you hit was, you say, rock bottom, which is more realistically, it's like a pivot. It's a pivot time that you pivot. So
Mm-hmm.
you're just going to change something, whatever it is. You're actually not at rock bottom. Rock bottom is like you're like living on the streets. You have no money. You like your whole family's like, "Don't even talk to me." And like you, the thing is, at your rock bottom, you could probably DM your friends on Facebook and they just give you $1,000. So, but in your mind, you think that's actually rock bottom. So
Mm-hmm.
really, that was like rock bottom of, you think that you're like losing love. You think that you're losing
Yeah.
like love and attention. Where the thing is, like you like what the way you're treating love as if it was like a scarce resource.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the apple tree. You're like, "I need to go collect apples." Where really, what the thing is, you think you're the person that needs to eat apples, where you're the apple tree. You are love. So the thing is, if you realize that that you are loved, you may not even like played baseball.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then you're like, no, I love playing baseball. And like, you actually probably wouldn't even play baseball if you knew that you were loved. So,
Yeah.
I think like when I talk about the pivot points, another popular, so when you feel that you hit rock bottom, where really you're just at the, you think that you're at the bottom of like getting love, or really you think that your source of love, external validation, is leaving or going to be gone. So that's what you're thinking is the rock bottom. And also the concept of getting angry is another time that people want to pivot. So let's say for a job, they just had it with their boss and they're like, they walk in and they explode on their boss, big argument, and like, I quit. The thing is, they should have quit months ago, years ago.
Yeah.
But because they didn't do it. So the thing is, the person who's angry and the person who's like at the rock bottom that you described, both of them, they're actually like a way to upgrade. Like we can look at that as the rotary phone. The way to upgrade from that to an iPhone is having more awareness, being more mindful. So the thing is, you could constantly, the thing is, if you have a higher level of awareness, you can constantly pivot that right away and just be like, no, I don't really want to play baseball anymore. And then just like, no, I don't think I'm going to go this year. And it doesn't have to be so painful. Same thing with the anger. You don't have to wait to build it. So wait for it to build up, for the anger to build up in order to do something. So what ends up happening is that people almost like idolize the anger and idolize their rock bottom. And I've seen so many videos that be like, you got to hit rock bottom. That's where the biggest change is. You actually don't have to hit rock bottom. If you have enough like awareness and mindfulness, you actually don't. You can actually, the thing is, when you hit the rock bottom or get angry, then you finally get a jump. Like the thing is, it's a bigger jump because you're like, I'm quitting everything. It's a big jump. So, but the thing is, if you have the higher level of awareness, you can just make a little jump every single day.
Yeah.
And that is much more impactful than waiting. I mean, how long were you in the baseball industry?
About 6 years.
Yeah. So it took you years to have an upgrade.
Yeah.
The thing is, the first couple years may have been a lot of growth for you. But the thing is, the same thing with Grypmat. When I started Grypmat, that was a lot of growth for me. But the thing is, then I was like basically overstaying my stay with Grypmat the same you were with baseball. I'm not evolving. I'm just like kind of like plateauing. And I think the thing is, emotionally, I'm plateauing. The company might be still going up, but emotionally, I'm like plateauing.
Yeah.
And I think, and because the easiest way to measure things is, dollars in the bank and likes on Instagram and followers or whatever. And it's harder to see like your emotional development. Like, oh wow, I'm like it's a massive emotional development to be okay with accepting a healthy dating relationship. You can't count, well, how many emotional points is that worth? But so the thing is, one thing might be growing. The thing is, what you might be measuring as growth. As for me, what I was measuring as growth was like, annual sales, and that was. But emotionally, that I was like getting stagnant.
Yeah. No, you nailed it. Because when I had, a business card that said New York Yankees, like that was what I was holding on to. It was this identity and hiding all of my insecurities, all of my, just to call it what it was, self-loathing, really having no sense of myself. But I was so attached to being Stu, the sports guy, that I actually was stunting my own growth because I wasn't willing to entertain the idea of leaving and starting something new, trying something else, anything of the like.
And what I think like a egoic trap that people have is they're like, well, so if I have the shame, then therefore I'll be successful. If I do freedom, if I do the route of freedom, then therefore success, like having a company, being in the Yankees, is not obtainable. actually they're all obtainable with the freedom. So so really like your ego is trying to trick you into thinking, oh well, you need to keep me around. Like the ego wants you to keep it around, the shame perspective. So so then therefore it can stay alive. Where the thing is like I remember I was telling someone about Vipassana, and um I was like I was like, yeah, it brings me a lot of peace and like a lot of like aha moments, and emotionally it's very it, there's a lot of growth. And someone said to me, well, what if you just like meditating so much, you just go meditate in the woods forever? And I'm like, okay, well, you would, well, one, you'd be happy, so that's okay. But two, like that's his ego saying, look, you don't want that shit. You know, and then really to a point, he's like, oh, I don't want happiness. If that's happiness. The thing is also what I see with people is that they confuse the concept of forever. So the thing is, when you were leaving the Yankees, you felt like you're never going to get love and attention ever again, right?
Correct. Correct.
Right. Like it's forever that you can't get love and attention forever. Where really it's just like the thing is, if you quit Yankees and you called up any of your buddies, they would be like, "Yo, are you in the Yankees? Nah, get out of here." Like no one would do that.
No one did, but that's how it felt. Like it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
absolutely the like, my parents are never going to love me again. My friends
yeah,
are all going to turn their backs on me. I'm going to die alone. Like all these crazy things, but they felt so real in the
yeah.
moment.
That's your ego. That's your ego trying to survive. Really, it's your old story. Your ego is convincing you that this old story. So now it's like, okay, well, what's the new story? The new story is you can have all of that love and attention. Like you are love and attention. You don't need Yankees. Think about the mindset that you were. You'd have to get into the Yankees in order to get love. For me, I'd have to have $1 million to feel like I was loved. That's the most expensive love
Yeah.
ever. Like this most difficult love ever. Like you had to get in the Yankees if you want love and attention. So the thing is, like when I talk about a lot of this stuff, usually the people who are approaching me and I give them this answer, they're like already in the like beginning stages of their like getting addicted to their insecurities. So they're like, well, wait, hold on. So I should just like not open this restaurant? Like you might need to not open the restaurant. You might need to just like sit in the woods and meditate for 10 days. That might be the
Mhm.
thing. Do you know who Elkhart Tolle is?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so Power of Now. I think Elkhart Tolle is like the most like modern day Jesus of our time. Like he is like the Power of Now. I'm just like, holy crap. Um, where he like the thing is he made the Power of Now to help progress him in his development. He didn't like he was never like you think there's like Power of Now like Facebook ads? There's not. There's
Mm-mm.
not like
No.
he's yeah, he doesn't need anyone. The thing is he made the power, which I think is really powerful, that he's making the Power of Now for himself, which actually the way he's doing it for himself is actually for the world, like impacting
Yeah.
the world. So the thing is he's not doing it the other way around of like, well, I can make it for everyone else and then that'll feed me something. He's like, no, I'm here to make this for myself. And I mean that's the same thing with like Billie Eilish doing music. Like she like as a kid she's making music for herself. She's not making music like, mom, dad, did you like the music? Did you like the music? And I think what happens as kids, like the way people talk to their kids is like the the way people talk to their kids is, wow, good job, you did so amazing, you did awesome, versus saying, wow, how do you feel about that? So like the thing
Yeah.
is the kid is trying to show, look at my art, do you like my art, do you like the you like it, okay, great, I can feel good now. versus just saying, oh, do you like your art? Um, yeah, I do. It makes me happy when I make art. Okay, well, let's keep making art.
So this poses a question. We get a lot of messaging about, I think, in our society about find something you like and then try to go make money at it. And so is that something that you think is wrong? Are we forsaking our authentic selves if we're doing something for money, or where's the fine line there?
I don't think it's wrong. I think it's starting to become the rotary phone, and I think because there's a point where like that is development for a lot of people because so do something that you like and try to make money from it. That is expansive to the person who's working a job they hate.
Fair. Yeah,
So
that makes a lot of sense.
doing anything like someone who hates their job, and I have a lot of family members that are just like, I'm here only for the money. Because what I think is when you make money and fame the primary, the byproduct is never play. It's never fun.
Mm.
But if you make play and fun the primary, a byproduct can be money and fame.
Oh, that's so good. I appreciate your thoughts on that because I meet people all the time who have an idea, have a goal, have a dream, but they get so bogged down in trying to make money off of it that they
Hmm.
forget to just do something for the sake of doing it. Is there anything that you're up to that you do just because you enjoy it?
I was talking to a friend about this, and he was like, "Well, I want to guide people in plant medicine.
Mm.
So to to hippie world, it's plant medicine. To the rest of the world, it might be like drugs, like shrooms and ayahuasca. so he's like, I want to guide people in plant medicine. And I was actually in Guatemala, San Marcos, at this lake, which is like I'm at like the top hippie spot in probably all of Guatemala. And he's like, well, I was like, okay, well, what are you afraid of? He's like, I'm afraid it won't make money. So
Mm.
the thing is, I'm like, well, you're not in play. Your primary is money. You're hoping. He's like, oh, okay. He goes, so well, if I don't worry about that and just like focus on the people that if I just focus on the people, then later the money will come.
Mhm.
I'm like, your primary is still money. Because you're like, oh, I'll do this thing, and just like, maybe is the money here yet? Did it oh no, not yet. Okay, well, maybe the money will come later. The thing is, like the thing is, when I say make your primary play, money and fame may never come, but you have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
So the thing is, what like I was talking to a guy who really wanted. Well, there's actually two guys at the same time I was talking to him, and they really wanted to be life coaches, and they wanted, I want to be a coach, and the problem is with these. The thing is, the way I viewed them is that they were like it was like it was like the second day of class, and they're a student, and they're like, I'm ready to teach now. No.
Yeah.
You're still you're still in learning mode. You're not ready to teach. But really, that's their ego trying to be like, all right, look, you can't be down here with the normal people. You have to be up in front of everybody speaking. They want to be seen by others. That was a key thing. And he's like, look, I'm not making money off this business, and like I got to go take a bartender job at at this like ski resort. And I was like, yo, what is your play? What do you want to do? He's like, well, I like talking to people about their problems, walking through it, and I like to make art. So he'll actually have a conversation with someone about like what they're going through, and he'll like guide them through it, and he'll draw a piece of art and paint whatever like is coming about their problems, and he'll be like, yeah, this is what I painted. That's like what you're going through, and he'll like through the art, he'll like describe it.
Wow.
And yeah, and I was like, okay, don't make any money. Do all of this for free. Like if you're a bartender, the thing is, go ahead and do the bartender and be happy in your job. And then when you're done, check out. Like you don't have to mentally be back at the bar. Like, and you also don't have to like be upset and shame yourself. Oh, I'm just a bartender. This job doesn't like give me enough attention. Like it's okay to just have a 9 to 5 and then like do your play afterwards. Because not everyone's play is going to create money, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, if you work 9 to 5 and you play afterwards, whether that's like doing art or playing baseball or whatever it is, the thing is like that is actually more advanced than someone who like needs to be making money. And that was a problem with these two guys, is they're like the thing is they're not having authentic conversations with the people that they were coaching, because they're like, is he going to sign up for another month? Can I, can like, oh, I'm the perfect coach for you. Like the thing is, anyone who's looking for coaching, I guarantee those two guys would not turn them down. Guarantee it. Because they're like, they're desperate for money. So the thing is, you can't be a life coach and have any ounce of being desperate. And
facts.
You can't. The thing is, there's so many life coaches that are focused around the money instead of like actually making a difference. Like the thing is, if you were to like think of a life coach, what is the mission of a life coach? Help people is what you would think, but most life coaches don't even help people. They're actually like they're focused on money. Like the other guy, he was actually coaching people into his current insecurity. So his first insecurity was, I'm afraid to talk to women. He moves to Argentina, where, if you know anything about Latinas, they like gringos. So it's very easy to date. It's very easy to date. Nothing wrong with it. It's easy to date. So he goes on a few dates and he's like, wow, I'm the man. I'm going to start teaching guys. The thing is, he liked getting this external validation from the women. So before,
sure.
the thing is, yes, he did evolve. He did grow a little bit. But the thing is, because he wanted to go teach it right away and be seen for his teaching, it actually stopped his growth. Where the thing is, a lot of the life coaches I see, they've actually like prevented further growth because they're doing the life coaching.
Yeah. And I want to speak into this if I can. I've definitely been guilty of being that guy in the past, but I firmly believe what you said. If you really need the money that badly as a life coach, you're actually not doing anybody a service. And
correct.
Just to zoom out a bit, just to put this and make it more broadly applicable, what I also feel like I'm hearing you say is we're comparing our square one or square two to somebody's like square 150. So like somebody listening. Yeah. So somebody listening to this who maybe wants to be an inventor, maybe wants to, be on Shark Tank, and they see you, Tom, they see your episode from back in 2017, they see you getting this deal and they want to be you in that moment, but they're skipping all of the self-discovery, all of the work, all of the play, or even just growth into who they are in their zone of genius, because they see that as like the pinnacle of what something can be, and don't actually see if this is for them and do the work, if that makes sense.
The thing is, I think it's okay to see what someone's doing and be like, wow, I am inspired by them and I want to go in that direction. Like, for example, Eckhart Tolle. But the thing is, like, I'm inspired by Eckhart Tolle, but the thing is, if like I'm wanting to be like Eckhart Tolle for other people to see me, the thing is, like, just having the awareness to see I'm doing this out of an insecurity is like the most important thing. So if you're doing it out of freedom of like, okay, well, I have an invention, and how do I just bring that to life? Because the thing is, like, bringing something to life in the world may be expansive for you in that moment. But the thing is, bringing something to life as an inventor is different than I need to be seen as an inventor. I'm the inventor guy. You see? Yeah, I made that. Me. Yeah. I'm on this magazine. See? So that is two different. Like the thing is, it was expansive. It was me playing at times is like, oh, I mean, my background was engineering, so me solving a problem like that was expansive. But then, you know, getting another award or like because I need to get on this next award like that, like that's feeding the insecurities. So really what I felt what happened was there was a point where I like it was almost like if a drug addict had an infinite amount of like access to their drugs.
Mm.
And then they did that for years, and then just one day like, oh, no more drugs. And they're like, what? Wait,
Yikes.
what? Like yeah, that's how it feels. So, you know, but the thing is, like, what I realized is, my drug was the external validation. I don't need that anymore. I want to say something. I want to go back to something about those two guys that were like wanting to be life coaches. What I told them was, and I think this may help anyone who's listening, is like, after talking to them, realized that they do want to help people. And what I said was, okay, if this is true, then make that the focus. And then after you help someone, say if they can and if they would like to, like, here's a link to donate. Just make it donation based. And that's what I really like about Vipassana. Is Vipassana, the 10-day meditation, you sleep there for 10 days, they give you 3 meals a day, it is all free. And then they basically say, you have been paid for, would you like to donate to pay for someone else or pay for a portion of someone else? Wow. And the thing is, they have thousands of centers all over the world, and which is, it's completely flipped than so many like personal development classes I've been to. They're doing like salesy stuff like, all right, run to the back of the room, the next 10 people get a discount. And then there's all this peer pressure, or like, all right, everyone close your eyes and stand up if you're going to take the next class. And it's like the thing is that there's no like peer pressure. It's just like, here's the like they're like, it's free, you can leave whenever you want, but like, we know this works. And and afterwards I was like, wow, this is actually the most impactful thing I've ever done in my life. And that's why I think it's so amazing. And I think it's like the same thing with the life coaches. What I think is funny is like these life coaches, when I tell them you should donate, let them donate afterwards, they instantly think they'll make less money. Which is hilarious, because the thing is, all the time the life coaches will be like, oh, this my coaching is only $1,000 a month. It's worth $10,000. It's worth 10,000. Well, if it's worth $10,000, I'll gladly pay you 5,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if it's really
Absolutely.
worth that, just let me like experience what you're doing, and then I'll donate after. And then what some of these like coaches will say is like, oh, well, we need an energetic exchange, or some type of exchange for them to like, well, the thing is, if you pay $1,000 for my coaching, then you're going to show up on time. If your motivation for my coaching is that you spent $1,000, like, we've already lost. You clearly don't see the value in it.
Oof. That's a really good point.
The thing is, do you like go spend time with your wife because you're like, shit, I spent so much money on the house?
Or on that wedding?
Yeah, right. There's so much. Damn, we got to get dinner. Okay, yeah, let's get dinner. Just like, okay, I mean, the dinner's only gonna be like 50. It's a fancy dinner, like $50. Like, okay, like, this is well worth, because that wedding was like 10 grand, 20 grand. So the thing is, if like, that's how you're, to some people at the level they are, that may be the stepping stone of development. But I think that the thing is, if you have the rotary phone, you don't need to go to a flip phone before you can get an iPhone. You can just go to an iPhone. So you don't have to do that. But some people, that's just part of their journey.
So clearly meditation has been a huge part of your journey. So
Yeah.
is meditation, you feel, the best way to support people in doing the work of going from a rotary phone to an iPhone, or how do people get started?
So short answer is yes. Meditation is the answer, but the thing is, people confuse other things to get them to that are expansive. For an example, people will say, "Oh, I don't really meditate, but I have a therapist." So
Mm,
which one's better, meditating or having a therapist? Which one's better?
I don't actually know. They're different in my
The thing is,
experience.
right. So the thing is, like, tell me, like, what's the difference between someone who meditates before the therapist and someone who only has a therapist?
I feel like the person who's meditating is going to be more in tune with themselves and their authenticity
Right.
because
So
it's
the thing is,
just them.
those two conversations are completely different. Like,
Hmm.
you're talking to the same therapist, but you're asking completely different questions. Instead of, like, people will say to the therapist, "Should I quit my job? Should I break up with him or her? Should I tell my mom this thing?" The thing is, if you meditate, you're already answering those questions. Where you're like, where if you're talking to the therapist, it'd be more like, "I've decided I need to talk to my mom about this. How should I approach it?" Versus, "Should I talk to my mom about this?" Like, they've already decided. I've decided I need to quit my job, but, like, I just need support, like, walking through it. The thing is,
Yeah.
the thing is, I think that the meditation for me, like, a massive benefit is that it makes my part of it is like, because I'm more aware, I can hear my intuition louder.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, what happens is when most people don't trust their intuition, because the intuition can say some crazy shit where you're like, "Wait, I quit. I just got in the Yankees. You want me to quit?" Like, that's the kind of shit that the intuition was. You're like, "Quit now? I've done all this work, and now you want me to quit?" Yes, quit. So then, instead of like honoring and trusting the intuition, you'll be like, "Mom, do you think I should quit? I think I don't know, but I've did so much work. Dad, should I?" You're asking all these friends, families, and experts for their opinion. The thing is, like, if, let's say, you were to ask me back in the day, "Should you quit the Yankees?" Think of the information that I have about you and the Yankees compared to the information you have about you in the Yankees. You're with you
Yeah.
24 you're with you
Oh,
24/7,
that's
where
a
you're
great
like,
point.
right. So the thing is, I'm just gathering the information. Okay, we've been on a 20-minute phone call. Like, I've seen some posts on Facebook, and, like, it looks like he's happy. Like, I don't, yeah, it doesn't really make sense why he quit. I don't know. So what I realized is, like, a lot of times, like, the concept of the fear behind, like, okay, let's think of what is the fear behind trusting the intuition. You may be wrong. So then, therefore, like, you have, like, this addiction. I need to be right. I need to be on the right path. Like, you believe that there is a right path, and you believe that there is a wrong path. There is no, like, shocker, that no one has any path. They're just, like, trying to find their own path. So, and the concept of, like, wrong and right is really a perspective thing. Because, like, if I'm measuring your level of trust with your intuition, quitting is 100% right. That's the direction you want to go. If I'm trying to measure how cool you look when you go back to your 10-year reunion, 20-year reunion for school, maybe you're not as cool because you only did a year in the
Sure.
Yankees, and someone might think, "Well, he's just washed up. He just can't, you know, survive in the Yankees or something." So, um, yeah, I'm ranting, but
No, it's good. I'm picking it up because you're hitting on, I think, a lot of the insecurities that I felt in that moment. Like, there was never a time when I felt like sexier on paper, extending my hand, shake yours, be like, "Hey, Stuart Cranes, New York Yankees, nice to meet you." You know, but I was so miserable inside from all of it, and it was all to appease people that didn't care anyway.
yeah,
And to your point, my intuition was giving me a lot of pings along the way. This is not for you. This is not
Yeah.
sustainable. You are not happy. And I just stuffed it down over and over and over again
Yeah.
because I was so afraid of losing the external validation.
It
Go ahead.
whispers before it screams.
Here's a question for you. It ended up screaming. Like it ended up screaming at me in a way that my health was quitting on me. I actually ended up in a hospital for a couple of days from the
Yeah.
stress of being
Yeah.
there. Does it always lead to a crash out if we don't listen to our intuition?
To the person that's unaware, yes. Either that or anger.
Sure.
So there might be a few different options, but like in my perspective, that's the two big ones, at least for me. So like what I realized is, so after doing the Hawaii thing, like when I say my like intuition can say crazy shit during like the peak of the pandemic, my intuition was like go to Brazil and live in the favelas and like live in the slums. And I was like, all right, fuck it, let's do it. Listening to my intuition, like I kind of feel like my intuition was also like baby stepping me. Like it was my intuition that was like, first day of the pandemic, go to Hawaii,
Mhm.
go to Hawaii. Now that's easier to listen to than like peak of the pandemic, go live in the slums of Brazil. Like that's that step two was like, okay, I'm going to Brazil. And we were teaching kids in the slums jujitsu. And the thing is, how I used to get external, or what I thought would give me external validation was like, yeah, I'm the Shark Tank guy, I'm the inventor guy, or whatever. Like what I couldn't see. The thing is, the same with you with the Yankees. You thought that was giving you external validation, but what you're not seeing is that is oftentimes preventing you from getting external validation. So
Mhm.
the thing is, me in the slums of Brazil, these kids who speak Portuguese don't even speak English, and I'm like trying to explain to them that I was on Shark Tank. They have no idea what the hell that is. And like, no, really, it's a really cool show. Lots of people watch this show. They're just like, can we play? Like, what are we? Why are you here? Like, you're here to play with me, right? Like, why are we not playing? So the thing is, if I were to actually explain to them like how I thought I would get external validation, it's actually preventing me from connecting to these, from actually getting external validation. But really, I seeing that I don't need any of the external validation because I'm internally validated. Like that's the kid that's that like those kids need someone who is internally validated. That's the one they don't need the guy who's needing the external validation because they're like, because really they can't give me what I thought I needed.
Wow. That's definitely something to chew on for sure. Tom, I feel like we can keep this conversation going for a whole nother hour, but we are going to need to start drawing it to a close. I feel like this conversation is centered around external validation, doing the work within, connecting to ourselves, listening to that voice. Is there anything else that on this subject that you want to make sure the listeners hear as we begin to wrap this one up?
So something that came up in meditation today was that I had this feeling that I have a few problems dealing with like getting a new passport or like solving this like tax issue. Not
Mhm.
important. But I have a few problems and I had the feeling that these problems could not be fixed. Actually, a perfect example is like I actually dropped my phone and I cracked the screen.
Mm, I hate that.
And yeah. And what I realized is I was like seeing these things in my mind and these problems and just seeing my judgment as they are problems instead of seeing how they are gifts.
Yeah.
And the concept of like when I dropped my phone, I actually realized that I wasn't upset that I dropped my phone because I know my happiness is worth more than this phone screen.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when I have a problem, like going back to the idea of, I think a lot of times people think things are forever. Like
Mm-hmm.
the problems, one, they're not forever. Two, they're not worth more than my happiness. And three, there's
Yeah.
actually a huge gift behind them.
Yeah. I love that. And obviously, it's not ideal to have a cracked phone screen, but not having the attachment to the thing
Right, right, right.
is a
Yeah,
reflection of more of an attachment to the being.
yeah, yeah. And I think like that's what it's important for me for the meditation is just like helping me be like it's growing my strength of being present. And it's like boom, the second that it happens, if you're not fully present, you're like, I mean, what's wrong with the cracked phone screen? That you're going to have to buy a new phone screen, which is not present. This is going to be in the future. But if you're just like, oh, the screen's cracked, well, I still have to go home right now. I'm on my way home right now, or whatever. But yeah, so I guess when you ask me, what do I want to leave with people is um, just seeing that a lot of your problems may be gifts.
Yeah. And if it isn't something that you want to necessarily look at, folks, I encourage you to really lean in because the little pinging that you're getting is there for a reason and it's there to support you into stepping into your greatness and into your truth.
Yeah, yeah.
Tom, this has been an awesome conversation. Where can folks connect with you off of the podcast so they can either continue the conversation with you, follow anything that you're up to, go from there?
Yeah, I guess I've been posting a lot of content on Instagram, and actually, I've been focusing it on like blue collar workers because that's been my background, just working construction, snow removal, factory jobs, and being in the
Mm.
military. So I've been calling it the blue collar hippie. So if you just search that in Instagram, um, that's where I've been posting content. I have done a few episodes, like podcast episodes um, on YouTube, but the thing is, like what I explained before is like external validation used to be my old drug. So like the concept of me wanting a lot of attention on like social media is kind of like asking your AA buddy to hang out at the bar. So uh,
Sure.
the thing is where I like what I realized where I measure my value is having deep conversations like this and focusing that on um, my family and friends. So I don't need the algorithm to hit some random person that's like across the world or across the country and like have them have an aha moment. I want to have these conversations impact my family and friends. I think growing my inner circle can grow the world. So if anyone who's listening, if you want to be a part of the inner circle, feel free to DM me. We can have some conversations, and if it ends up leading to we record it and it helps other people, then great. But my focus is having these deep conversations to expand my awareness and also uh, expand my family and friends. So I think it's when I'm I can meditate, but then when I'm talking to having a conversation like this, it can sometimes be like a mirror. So it's nice to see that. So
Yeah. Well, Tom, we appreciate you putting it on full display for everybody today
yeah,
and for
cool.
everybody listening to this in the future. Folks, we will absolutely put Tom's contact info in the description in the show notes so that you can connect with him. And as always, y'all, I know you got some value out of today's conversation. So please do share this out with at least one other person for whom you know that this will be valuable for. Cost of admission here is always free. So we just ask that you share this with somebody who you feel like can be impacted as well. And folks, this has been another conversation, your inside track to success. We will be back next week with another amazing guest or message. We will see you then.